Good morning, everybody. You guys know me. I'm Nancy Ganzikoff, a business coach and body language trainer, and I am here with Lesley. You go first. Introduce yourself.
Good morning. I am Lesley Myrick. I am Nancy Ganzikoff's associate coach and a practicing interior designer. Been in business for myself almost 9 years now, which is crazy pants.
That is crazy pants. Okay, and we are here with one of my almost graduates of my Profit Insider Academy. I think we have 1 month left for your small group. To introduce yourself, Cassie.
I'm Cassie Beach. I'm an interior designer located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with Made with Grace and Grit.
All right, so we're here to talk about work-life balance, which I asked you if you would go live because you're one of many Profit Insider Academy people, students who come in to learn how to run a profitable interior design business, get a work-life balance. But the work-life balance was particularly difficult for you. So explain where you were at before you started the academy, where your work-life balance was, and we'll talk about pricing and all that stuff first. But first, I want to talk about this balance in our lives.
Yes. Honestly, I think it was probably 6 months before I signed up for the program. I seriously considered just shutting it down. I had a job offer from another designer, and then a headhunter was recruiting me to work for a commercial construction company, kind of being the face. And I was seriously considering, at what point do I pivot? Because I was working so hard. My husband would consistently tell me, you work harder than anyone I know. You deserve to be paid for your time. This isn't fair to you and our family. You are sacrificing everything. And so I was just working constantly and not reaping. I mean, when you own a business, there has to be some benefits because we all know the hat stays on all the time. It doesn't come off. So if you don't get paid for that time, there's no perks.
Yeah. It's you're running your own business is supposed to support your life, not crush your life, which is what it's doing to a lot of people. And it did it to me for a long time too, right? What about you, Lesley?
It is so easy for this business to creep into everything because, and Cassie and I were using the walkie-talkie app. We were talking about this the other day. Empathy is such a huge part of this business. And we're good designers because we are empathetic. We understand our clients. And that means we are constantly thinking about their needs, their emotional desires, their projects. I'm never not thinking about what I'm doing. And Cassie made such a great point that we put so much heart and energy and time into this. Yeah. And we deserve to be compensated for our skill and expertise. This is a skill. This is something that takes a lot of us. It's a very giving profession. And I love that your husband went out there and said, hey, look, poke, 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 something's got to change. We can't sustain this as a family. Yeah. And if you don't have balance, and there's no balance. We all know that work-life balance is a myth, but it has to all feel good. And in some seasons, you're going to be working more. And in some seasons, there's more family stuff that takes precedent. Maybe there's an illness or some sort of personal thing. And it's figuring out how can you still keep this business running and be profitable and have a life. And that's the component we're talking about today.
Yeah. Yep. How does your business support your family, not suck the life out of you and your family? So, all right. So when you came in and applied for the Profit Insider Academy, you had that struggle with work-life balance. Part of what we teach you is that we need to look at our goals long-term and choose one or two to really focus on and not choose 5 at the same time. So tell everyone a little bit about what our first session was like when you had multiple true entrepreneurial ideas of everything you wanted to do, and tell everyone about
that's a little bit of my Achilles heel. Is I love ideas. I love brainstorming. I love, creating. That's part of the process, but especially new business ventures and things like that. And you guys really helped me kind of hone in on, I can love all those things and want to pursue all of those things, but to really hone in on making this business serve its purpose in my life for my life goals, and not just, oh, this is another fun thing to pursue, and this is how I can help other people, and this is how I can help other people, but really hone in on the why behind it. And, obviously as designers, we all love to support our clients, but also we all get up and work every day to support a life. And so you guys really helped me hone in on defining my personal goals and recognizing that some of those other things just in this current season of life don't align with them. And to set them aside and set that boundary for myself so that it's not one more thing I'm pouring energy into.
Right. And I really feel, I'm getting some echo today, aren't I? I'll talk lower. I feel strongly about the fact that before you take on another venture, you should be making money on the venture that you've chosen to be your number one venture, and you should be profitable and have that work-life balance. So then you can develop the structure within that first business to develop a second business or a second hobby that's going to take a lot of your time, right? So that's basically where I said, let's slow down. Let's get the one business, the interior design business that you love, profitable, so that you do have some more choices in the future, maybe when your kids get a little bit older, right? And that resonated with you for now.
100%. 100%.
Okay,
I was pouring from an empty bucket. I really was.
Yes. So you joined the program. How fast did you start making more money to be able to actually start having a work-life balance? Even like, it's a 12-month program, the Profit Insider Academy, but how fast did you feel the impact?
Honestly, before we started, because I had signed up like a month before the program started. So then I had access to the content and I started diving into the key right away. And I implemented that right away. It really helped give me the confidence. I think in this industry, you're on an island so often. I have so many friends that are in the same boat, that you're on an island. And so it gave me the confidence to like, no, this is what it's worth. This is what I'm worth. And I have to set that line in the sand and almost pretend that it is a little team and that I'm making the decision as the CEO, so that when I'm sitting in front of that client, I don't waver on what it is and what it costs. And, you know, to hear that you guys have teamed up with designers all over the country to say, no, this is the amount of time it takes to complete a project. So that really helped me because I did that, then I was already increasing profit before I started the program, so that I had a little wiggle room in my schedule and my day to dedicate the time to the program to do the other things to make it successful throughout the year.
Yes. And so people don't know that if they apply now to the Profit Insider Academy and it starts on May 2nd, they get access into what you're talking about, the essentials, the key, the designer's ultimate pricing tool, my body language course. It all comes with the program and they get access to that right away. So if they join quickly and they get accepted into the program, they actually have 3 or 4 weeks ahead of when the program starts to be doing some self-training and start looking like you did, right? So the key, the designer's ultimate pricing tool. Lesley, tell everyone a little bit about that if they don't know, which is sold separately, but comes along with the Profit Insider Academy, group program.
Yes, this is a tool that any designer can buy and access through Nancy's website, but it does come as part of the Profit Insiders Academy. This is the pricing tool that Nancy and I developed after my 19 years working in the industry, Nancy's many years coaching interior designers, and seeing a lot of pricing models not work as well as they are touted to.
Yes.
And the great thing about the key, I mean, what we teach high level, I'm not going to go too deep here, is a hybrid model of pricing, flat fee for design, hourly for implementation and project management. That allows you to be profitable and protected in the unknown part of the design phase. And what the key does is gives you estimated hours. So you have a starting point, you can adjust them as needed, and it will tell you exactly what your design fee is, what the deposit, like it's all there for you. It really simplifies it. And it's scary because we often are pulling numbers, we're guessing, we're thinking, 5,000 sounds about right for a design fee. And when you use the key and actually run your numbers, that design fee might be 9,000. And it's scary. And also the paper courage, I know it's digital, but the paper courage designers have needed to say, here is my fee. This is what it's going to take. And that kind of, I'm just pulling random numbers, but like if you were charging 5,000 for a room and suddenly you charge 9, that's almost twice your rate. And you should have been earning that the whole time. So the key is such a valuable tool. And I love that you dove into it so early, Cassie, and put yourself out there and said, this is what I'm charging now. This is what I'm worth. This is what it takes to get from start to finish. Are you in or are you out, client? And of course we don't say it like that, but it's nice to have that I like having that very tangible worksheet to back up what I'm doing and be able to present those numbers with confidence.
Well, because the bottom line is when I'm trying to teach everyone work-life balance, you can't achieve work-life balance if you're not charging enough for the hours you are working. You can't have peace that you know you're going to bring in $10,000 a month every month if that's what you need to support your life, because you're working your butt off undercharging. So you've got 20 clients only making 5,000. When I'm saying let's go to 10 clients and make 10,000. And Cassie, is it possible?
Yes, 100%. Like my numbers are crazy different. Like my CPA was like, wait, what? Like even Q1 this year, I met with my bookkeeper and I'm like, so this is where I thought, and she's like, so wait, for this many months, like that's, I'm like, yeah, no, that's what I built for this, for the last 3 months. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, because of what?
Because it was because of using the tool. It was 100% using the tool. And the other caveat that I will say that I really appreciate about it is because it really sets the expectation with clients. And I always tell them when I'm giving them the proposal, like, hey, we're at the beginning stages of the project. We can work the Rubik's Cube. If this is too much and we need to change the scope, then we can. But then I think it gives people realistic expectations. I just had this conversation with a designer friend yesterday that they all come to us and they want the HGTV experience for $500. It's like, in what world is that possible? And so I think it sets that bar like, hey, you told me this is the experience you wanted to have. This is what that experience costs. And if they don't want to pay that price, then it really sets from the very beginning of the project that expectation that, okay, we're changing the scope of the project. So then when you don't have that experience that you wanted, it's because you changed the scope. So it really helps from the very beginning set expectations too.
Yes, and talk about the support you get in the academy when you're nervous.
There's so much support. There's support on the calls. So the calls are like the highlight of my month. Getting on, I learned something every month. It keeps me accountable because I know we've all signed up for other things, and having those calls bi-weekly really helps keep me accountable that, okay, did I do my homework? Where am I? You know, and then just the conversations that come out of it. And then the Voxer is amazing. Like I Voxer you guys most of the time, multiple times a week. And there has been multiple things that have come up just in the past couple of weeks that I've been so thankful that I've done the model that I have, because there's too many cooks in the kitchen in our industry and things come up. And if you're not paid for your time, we all end up eating it. And so because of you guys helping me set those boundaries and set a realistic pricing model, I have had room in my schedule to handle the things that come up and still be paid for my time. And you've both helped me navigate all of the things that have come up over the last year. It doesn't matter if it's something with a contractor to a new tool I'm investigating to, I mean, any question I have, you guys have had really great answers and solutions. And it's helped me, it saved me time again, because I'm not sitting there stewing by myself or researching, or it's just like, okay, I have a problem. I'm going to Voxer both of them, got the answer, I get to move on. And it's not in that state of being on an island again, which I think so many independent designers have that problem. You're just on an island and then you freeze because you have too many decisions and too many hats.
I love that you say that, Cassie, because I think that the Voxer, the walkie-talkie app, is something that makes the Profit Insiders Academy so different. Often with other programs, and there's, it's just the way that they're run. You have those group calls, and that's when you get to ask your questions. So you can go a week, 2 weeks, a month in between getting answers. Back in the day when I coached with Nancy, she did not have this, and I wish she did, because it was so valuable. I mean, literally anyone in our program can Voxer us night or day. We won't answer during the night, but we get back to designers, I'd say pretty regularly the same day, if not the next day, with answers. And
you guys are great
when you're feeling stuck.
I think the biggest thing is the dwelling, right, Cassie? Like if you can't get an answer, we tend okay, women definitely do this. Some men do this, but I know I do it. So I'll speak personally. If I can't get an answer to something, I just keep repeating it in my head. And I dwell on it. Where you guys now, you have a design question. You've got Lesley, you have business questions. You've got Lesley, business question, me, communication issues, right? All kinds of relationship pricing, everything that's making you anxious. And it's funny because I actually, somebody came into the program yesterday, the one academy starting in May. And she said, I'm driving my husband crazy. And I'm like, you know what? My husbands love us because if you're driving your husband crazy, talking about your business, they have a completely different opinion because they're not in the same business sometimes, or they're in the same business, but they have a different opinion because they're a contractor or some other area. Yep. The interior design business is so unique. I really find it difficult when people take advice from non-interior design industry people because it's a very different business model.
I 100% agree. I actually did coaching with other people before I signed up with you guys, and I plateaued very quickly because you spend so much time teaching them about the industry that you're in. And at the end of the day, like, one of the most powerful things that happened with you guys is that because you're industry experts, you pushed back on me on those things that I was scared to, like, no, I don't want to do it that way. It's uncomfortable. I'm going to have to redo everything. I'm going to have to come up with a completely different process or insert X, Y, Z. And you're like, yeah, no, but this is why. These are facts. And when I did what you told me to do, it changed my business dramatically and therefore my life. And I will say, to the point that I'm in like multiple networking groups locally with other types of businesses. And since working with you guys, I have said basically, you need to work with a coach in your industry. This is my experience. And you need to find somebody that models after this similar model, because after coaching with you guys, it sets the bar so high for any other coach of any sort, because you've really covered all of the bases, from the group calls and having that time, and even developing the relationships with the other designers in the group. Like, we have our own Voxer group. And so that piece of it, to having that consistent, like, here's your homework. Like, we all know as entrepreneurs, if we don't have somebody holding our feet to the fire, those things get pushed to the back burner, because the electrician that called or the contractor or the upset client, they always take priority. And then the actual development of the business gets pushed aside. And the Voxer, I mean, and then all of the courses and content, like the wealth of knowledge that is at my fingertips at any point. And to be able to Voxer you and you're like, hey, I have a course on that. Like, when I signed up, I kid you not, when I say that I jumped into the course, like, Nancy, you were with me everywhere. You were with me when I brushed my teeth. You were with me when I drove to class.
You were in the essentials and the lessons. And so let me explain to everybody. So we meet with our Profit Insider Academy people twice a month. However, in between, the homework we're giving is supported by video lessons, PDFs, scripts, and things that are in the background. So Cassie, you dove right into all the essential lessons.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. I just, like, next course. And I literally, because I live a little outside of town, so I have a lot of car time. So you were with me while I ate lunch. Like, in the day, I think I spent like 3 weeks solid, just me and Nancy hanging out, watching all these videos, taking notes. I'd Voxer you like, hey, what about this? What do you mean in this? And it just, I think too, like, with my background, so I don't even know if you guys knew this, but my background, I was a nurse by trade before going into this industry, but then I worked for an EMR software company doing training. And so I worked directly with our corporate dev team on training development for our clients, as well as all of our client-facing teams. And so in that process, I got to work with experts on education and training and how to train. And all of your models align with industry experts when it comes to training. As far as sharing how you train successfully. So like the way that you did it, and the way that I was able to consume content and multiple types of content and have the follow-up and then implement and have the follow-up again, like, that all aligns with best practices for training, not just coaching and things like that.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, because I've never had my essentials, my lessons that support the Profit Insider Academy analyzed by anyone who actually was in that educational field. So that actually really excites me. When I added the Voxer, which is the walkie-talkie app, to the Academy program and to my one-on-ones, it was because I felt like I was losing people in between sessions. They were getting anxious, and they would come to the sessions with more anxiety questions as opposed to information questions, where if I could do the walkie-talkie app in between with Lesley, we would cover those anxiety-provoking moments and make them disappear much faster than living with it for 2 weeks. Right?
Absolutely. And then it helped actually execute it. Because otherwise, if you just consume content that you don't completely understand, you don't implement it.
Right.
Yes. True. So, all right. So right now in the economy, everyone's afraid to spend. Was it worth the investment, and how fast did you get your money back on the cost of my program?
It was 100% worth the investment. And I bet within the first couple of months, I made it back. And then tenfold, astronomically. I doubled. So we started the program in May, and I more than doubled what I billed in that last half of the year for the following, so in 2023 as a whole, I doubled all of what I billed in 2022. And I think I billed, for the first quarter, I probably billed, it's just, I could give you stats all day long, but it's astronomical, game changing. And at the end of the day, here's what I would say is it's scary. It is scary to spend money when you're unsure and uncertain. But I told you guys, within the first month, I said, oh my gosh, how much money have I left on the table?
Yes.
How much? Because I'm just wrapping up my 7th year. So in 6 years, how much work did I do that I just gave away? And so I think if anything, going into something where it might be tight, you really have to maximize your profit, and you have to make sure your processes, you are giving the absolute best client experience. Your processes are buttoned down, your profit is there, and you guys help with all of that. So I think it's all the more reason going into uncertainty that, you know what, you might be taking on less projects. You're absolutely right. That is a potential. So if you might be taking on less projects, you need to maximize the profit on the projects you're getting. And that is where I think I really saw immediately, and then have continued to see. And I think the confidence that came with it also is game changing, because I am so different today than I was a year ago.
You are.
Yeah.
I love when I record the first application review calls with people, and then occasionally I'll go back and watch, with someone like you, we'll do a case study on your success for sure. And we're trying to do it. But really 90% of our Profit Insiders have the success you're having. It's a matter of the 5%. It's usually a life situation, or, they haven't been able to really implement due to life happening. But we work with people with that, and we go, you know what, the things you're learning may not all be implemented this year. And I just want to point out for people who are listening live now, the reason why we're talking about pricing during How to Get a Work-Life Balance Back video is because that's how you get your work-life balance back, is by charging appropriately, so you can take less clients and have more money to have that work-life balance. Tell everyone the story you told us before you went live about the recent client who came to you, and how that went.
Yeah. So I recently had a client that was referred to me by his contractor, and his contractor was referred to me by another industry expert. And so I had my discovery call with them and quoted him my prices for my consult, and then my next ladder of service. And he told me, he's like, I feel comfortable with your consult fee, but I don't feel comfortable with these two fees together. And I just said, hey, this is my process. Experience has taught me that this is my process. This is my best practice. And where I'm at in my business currently, this is kind of my minimum of what I can take on. There's other designers that could maybe do it for less. They're in a different spot in their business, but this is where I am today. And he right away was like, well, no, but you were the one that I was referred to. I'm like, you're right. Because I've worked really hard to develop a reputation in the industry as an expert. and as somebody that gives a good client experience. And part of that is following my process.
Now, what would you have said before you joined the academy?
Oh, I for sure would have been like, okay, well, let's do the consult and then I'll probably just charge you hourly. It'll be like 4 hours of work and he'd probably be messaging me at 10 p.m. and it'd be 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there, and taking away from the success of those clients who are willing to pay for full service. Like they are willing to pay for the HGTV experience and the, start to finish, you handle everything. And I think I did this, and I know a lot of other people do it, where you get caught up in the little projects that suck so much time and they're not willing to invest in all that you can do.
Yes. Having the confidence to say no. Lesley, how many years does it take?
A lot less if you work with a great coach.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't even set that up on purpose, but yes, that is true, right? Because Cassie, you worked with other coaches, but still had that piece that was difficult for you because they didn't understand the pricing in the industry.
Right, 100%. Because I was doing flat fee beforehand, and I would never do that again. Never.
There's a lot of great coaches in our industry, and there's a lot of great coaches outside our industry. And there's always value, I find, in what they teach. What we've tried to do with the Profit Insider Academy is really make it one full comprehensive program where you can literally get as many answers as humanly possible for your specific business on demand when you need it, so that you can grow as fast as you want to, or take it slow. And slow and steady, I always say slow and steady wins the race. If you can't do your homework 1 week, it's okay. We're going to give you time to catch up. Don't sweat it. What about the website audit, the copy audit, the social media audit, the Get It Done Club? I don't know if you did that one, but all the things I add to the program to make your marketing and your pricing and your life easier.
Actually, it's kind of funny because 2 of those 3 audits are located in my region. And so like literally 30 minutes from my house, but I ended up hiring 2 of the 3. I ended up hiring 2 of them. I did the Get It Done Club, and now I've kind of got to a good spot where I haven't been doing that, and just converted over to her monthly, the cloud campaign.
Her management.
Okay. Yeah. And then I meet with Caffeine Creative actually later today to help with like my lead gen and my email marketing, because that has been something that's been on my to-do list for literal years. And I think working with you guys, I recognize like there are hats I can't wear. Yes. And no matter how much I maybe even enjoy creating those emails, I don't have the time. So she's going to help with that, as well as blog posts and those things. And even working with her, I tweaked a couple things. We talked about this too. And I went from being like the 3rd or 4th page of a Google search to, I think you guys said I was on the 1st or 2nd page when we did
that day when we Googled you.
Yeah. And so just all of it has really, oh my gosh, I can't stress enough. If I were to sit down with a designer on the fence today, I'd be like, without a doubt, do it. You won't regret it. Like there's one girl in our group that's very new. She just started her own business. And I keep thinking, you are so smart. I wish somebody would have told me to do this 7 years ago. I really do.
That's a really good point that I want you to talk about, because some people will come and go, well, is it a group of all the people at my same level? Because I want to make sure everyone's at least at my level. And I go, you know what? I mix newer, more experienced, in the middle, the journey. It doesn't matter, because running a successful business is running a successful business. And part of the Profit Insider Academy group program is that you do talk to each other and ask each other questions. And Lesley and I are always learning. You guys find, you taught us something the other day. You're like, oh, I do this with my clients. We're like, that was interesting, right? So we're all learning from each other as well, right? Which is why I like the mix. How did you feel about the mix of your group?
I love my group. There is a huge mix of experience level in the industry, but then there's also a huge mix of, I think designers are notorious for having different backgrounds before getting into the industry.
Yeah.
And so we all have different skill sets that we bring to the table. And we actually even, I don't know if you guys knew this, but we did a Zoom call probably 2 or 3 months in where I shared my tools, because you know me, I'm pretty techie because of my tech background. And so I just shared and I recorded it. I sent it to the girls. So we all have different strengths and different experiences that we bring to the table. And whenever I've had questions, I have also posed it to, not every time, but we have our little Voxer chat. And it doesn't matter if it's the most experienced person or the least experienced person. In fact, the girl in our group that's probably got the least experience as far as owning her own business is one of the first, and she has really great resources because she is spending a ton of time on the front end getting her business set up successfully. Yes. That she has really dug into what resources are available to her. And so yeah, they've all had different values and different perspective and different, some of us have a team, some of us don't. And there's just been a ton of insight gained from each other.
It's amazing. And so aren't you happy to hear that, Lesley, when they're talking behind our backs about their growth and their success?
I want to be in the group. I want to hang out with you guys. You too. No, it's so special. And I think that's part of what makes this program such a success is sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want a group program. Like I need the one-on-one attention. And you still get that here too. Yeah. You get the Voxer, you have that access. And those group calls are magic. So often you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And when someone else asks a question, when someone else brings up a point or shares an idea, it can be that little like, oh, because I feel like the business, it's not necessarily, and sometimes it is a complete overhaul, but it's often like those 1% tweaks that just get you a little bit more on the right path and compound that over a year and learning from coaches, from your peers, from, the designers in your cohort. Like, truly, Cassie, a year ago, like you were a completely different person. Like I want to go back and watch that video, Nancy, of you together, because a year ago, I sensed some fear and insecurity with charging what you were worth and people pleasing. And now there's this like sexy boss lady confidence where you're just like, yes, and I'm expensive and it's worth it. Like truly and you don't say those words, like you're not abrasive or dismissive or rude, but there's just this beautiful confidence in you where you're like, I know what I'm doing. If you want in, here's what it looks like. Buckle up and I'm going to knock your socks off. And if not, that is okay. There's enough for everyone out here.
Yep.
Yes. And what does your husband say now?
He is like so blown away. He really is. He jokes. He's like, you're like my sugar mama now. What's going on? he's so funny. He makes all these funny jokes about it because it really was like, it was night and day difference in what I've been able to pay myself and provide for our family. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but I gave myself a reward and bought my dream car this year as like a big milestone. And I got to do that 3 months into the program, mind you. So like it was, and paid cash, like zero payment, like, yeah. Like it's game changing. It is, when I say that, I'm not just being dramatic. It is game changing, life changing. I mean, I probably consistently now either tripled or quadrupled what I've been able to pay myself.
Wow.
Each month. Like
it gives me goosebumps. It's yes, I get paid to be a coach and it's how I support myself. So yes, it's a business for me, but nothing makes me happier. Literally gave me goosebumps than hearing all the things that come in from you guys about how much money you're making, how much work-life balance you have, how much confidence you have, how well you're attracting your ideal client from a slow pipeline for some of you, and how others came in with a little bit of a pipeline, but we were able to hone it to a more specific, applicable to their business, what they love to do, right? Because you're all so different.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is the confidence to be okay with the no's so that there's room for the right yeses. So I have more balance in my schedule. Like, I think there was a Friday afternoon at the end of, maybe it was early fall that I Voxed you guys. And I'm like, I'm literally on my patio in my new hammock, drinking a cup of coffee or something. I had some beverage of choice, like just soaking up a beautiful Friday afternoon and not feeling bad about it because I'm not drinking from a fire hydrant with a ridiculous schedule to just keep it all going and playing the giant game of whack-a-mole. Yes. I'm like, I can step away and take a breath. Like even last month I took a vacation and then my son had like so many no school days. I swear I worked like 9 days. It was ridiculous. And it felt a little stressful because nobody can get all their work done in 9 days. But I also had teed things up in the business to the point that I could say no I either can't take on the project or it's not a good fit, or I can't say yes right now. And that's probably one of the other biggest things that I've learned from you guys is it's okay to say, yep, and I'm 4 months out.
Yes.
And we can't kick your project off for 4 months so that I can really focus and serve my clients well. And ultimately, that's the other part of it is like, we want to work-life balance. We want to make money, but we want to do well. Like nobody wants to just do it for the sake of doing it and not give a really great experience. And I had one of my clients this year, every time I met with her, she's like, I feel like I'm your only client. How many people do you work? I feel like I'm your only client. It was one of the largest projects I had in the last year. And that was because of this program, because I could scale back and do less number of projects to do a more quality job with the projects that I have. And it has bled through. That's part of how I have leads coming out my ears right now, you guys. Like to the point that one lady canceled hers because she's decided to move. And I was like, oh, good. I'm glad. Like, I don't know if I can do anymore. So like, but all of it, every success and every win, whether it be my schedule, my profit, the clients, like all of it, I can trace it back to this program.
To the academy. Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
I so appreciate you being here and talking about the academy. I know Lesley knows. We look in the interior design business forum, my Facebook group, and we see how many people are still struggling with pricing, work-life balance, understanding which order to grow their business in, what service providers are not ripping them off and actually giving them excellent service, and being able to provide excellent service to their clients while raising their prices. And I do think one of the biggest things is getting the words to use to your clients as you change your business, right? You're like, what do I say now that my prices are higher and that person used me last year? What do I say when the neighbor used me and they referred me and now my pricing is different? What do I say to the contractor who's being a pain in the ass and he's, trying to control the job, right? You had access to suggestions on what to say in all these difficult situations because that's part of the program as well. Was that helpful to you?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Because it's emotional. Like, that's the thing. We are all, like Lesley said earlier, we are so emotionally invested in serving our clients well and developing great relationships with the other vendors that we work with. So to have that person to get off of the island, to have either of you with whatever circumstance. And literally I texted you last week on a difficult client conversation, and verbatim, I like kept pausing your Voxer and I'd type it out and then I'd hit play and I'm like, yep, that's good. But
by the way, you can hit the Voxer and hit translate too. There's the translate button.
Oh, shoot. There was a translate.
There is, or transcribe. I think it's transcribe. It's a rough transcription, but then you can copy. Look at Lesley.
Oh, shoot. I should have done that.
I want to see this.
I think I listened to your message about 6 times because I was like, that's good. And I think it helps take the emotion out of it, right? Yes. Because sometimes when we get those difficult conversations, it's so easy to be like, I'm going to make bullet point lists back to, well, I know on this date I said this, or this was done, or that, you know what I mean? And to just have a third party who's super neutral, be able to say, nope, this is the polished professional answer. You don't need to go into the weeds. Because I think that's what most of us do, is we dig into the weeds of like trying to figure out where we went wrong or whatever. And there's still value in learning from those pieces. But you guys gave me really great polished answers that I didn't have to stress and stew. Because let's be honest, most of the time, those are the situations that wake us up in a panic at 3 a.m. Oh my gosh, how are we going to handle this relationship? And what do I say? And how do I do it? And
All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there. This was about work-life balance. It was about the Profit Insider Academy, which Cassie is a almost graduate of, and we give a business excellent badge to those who have done amazing in the program, which is probably 95 to 100% if you do the work. So thank you, Cassie. And for anyone who is struggling with their pricing, work-life balance, process, interior design, what else, Lesley? Communication.
Marketing, pipeline, pricing's the big one. Just
sales.
Costs.
Managing money.
Body language, knowing how to appear confident.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Confidence is such a huge part. I know we didn't talk about that today, but that's a huge part of the program. And what you are excellent at teaching, Nancy, is confidence.
Thank you. So, all right, everyone. So I hope everyone continues to try to keep their work-life balance by using some of the lessons we give in public. If you're still struggling, please go to my website, nancyganzagoffer.com, and fill out an application for the Profit Insider Academy. The next group starts May 2nd. It's noon Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour and a half twice a month. We give you all the dates in advance. We give you the lessons that Cassie spoke about that she dove into 3 weeks early and already started making more money immediately. But the program itself is something I am really proud of and thrilled that Lesley is now a part of. Adds another whole dynamic to her experience being an interior designer, still an active interior designer, having moved to 3 different locations, checked out every coaching program and every software, and being a time management guru, because you really love that. It has added so much to the program. So I really appreciate having you here with us. So anyone who's interested, click the link. I'm sure we provided it somewhere, or go to my website, nancyganzagoffer.com, and fill out a free application to get on my calendar for 15 minutes to talk about your business and see if you can have the amazing success that this young lady has had in my program. Cassie, any final words?
I would just say, book the call, do it. Like you won't regret. And once you do have the guts to do it, you're going to regret not doing it sooner. So just do it now. It'll save you so much in the long run.
All right, we're going to end it there. Thank you, everyone. Go have a great Thursday, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.